I think that they should go to 64 single elimination, just like the Final Four in basketball in this country.
The average U.S. soccer fan probably isn't familiar with the name Alan Rothenberg. After all, he's no Leo Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, but you can argue he's equally as important to the game's growth, especially in the U.S. Through luck or fate, in 1980, Rothenberg, then vice president and counsel for the Los Angeles Lakers, was asked by Peter Ueberroth, president of the LA Olympic Organizing Committee, to serve as soccer commissioner for the upcoming 1984 games. The rest, as they say, is history. Getting a crash course in soccer, Rothenberg's bullishness on the beautiful game, both on the men's and women's side, has completely changed the trajectory of the sport in the U.S. as we know it. Rothenberg served as U.S. soccer president from 1990 to 1998, chairman and CEO of the 1994 FIFA World Cup. He's the founder of the U.S. Soccer Foundation, founder of Major League Soccer, and chairman of the 1999 FIFA Women's World Cup. With the 2026 FIFA World Cup less than 150 days away, there isn't a more qualified person to speak about the game's growth in the U.S. than Alan Rothenberg. Welcome to Finance of Football. I'm veteran sports journalist Michael Luray. Welcome back to Finance of Football. Joining us this week is Alan Rothenberg, one of the most influential figures in U.S. soccer history. His book, The Big Bounce, The Surge That Shaped the Future of U.S. Soccer, comes out February 10th. Hey, Alan, thanks so much for taking the time to chat. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, always.
It's officially 2026, which means it's a World Cup year, and it's not just any other World Cup being played halfway across the world. It's back in our own backyard with 48 nations playing 104 matches across the United States, Canada, and Mexico in the largest World Cup ever. Alan, you were CEO of the 1994 World Cup, the last time the tournament was here in the U.S. So what does it mean for the World Cup to be back on North American soil? And what does it mean for you personally to see how much soccer has grown since 94? We can even take it back 10 years to the 84 Olympics when you served as soccer commissioner.
You mentioned 84. I think people should understand that the real launching of soccer at the top level in the United States got its kickoff at 84, because the soccer tournament in the 84 Olympics, which I had the honor of being the commissioner of, led the Olympics attendance, beat out track and field, which had never happened before. We had over 100,000 people at the final of the Rose Bowl. And that's when FIFA decided, geez, we could bring our crown jewel to the United States. We can bring the World Cup to the United States, and it might actually succeed.
I think it's interesting because there was, of course, they realized the potential in American sports fandom, which was super disinterested in soccer, football, as we're talking about today. And for you didn't grow up as a soccer fan. You didn't really, as far as I know from our conversations, you didn't aspire to be part of the beautiful game, but then yet it's dominated your career for the better part of 4+ decades. Why were you bullish on the beautiful game ahead of the 84 Olympics, and how much your outsider perspective helped the marketing, promoting, organizing the 1994 World Cup, and as well as growing the game, professional league, and all together?
Well, I'll answer the last part first, and then we'll go back into it. The last part first is, I think the fact that I was not from the soccer community, if you will, actually assisted me in doing the things that I did. Because before I became president of the Soccer Federation, the management of U.S. soccer was all volunteers. And as successful as some of those volunteers might have been in their main occupation, you can't run something like this as a volunteer. And so the fact that I came at it from the outside, from a management standpoint, rather than growing up with soccer, I think was something that contributed to our success. Now, you're right. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and at the time, soccer had no presence whatsoever in our community. So I was baseball, football, hockey, basketball. I was aware, because I was a big sportsman, that there was something over there, over the water, called soccer, but I knew really nothing about it. I got my toe in the water in 1967 and 68 when my client, Jack Kent Cook, briefly had a team in the original North American Soccer League. And then, having only seen, because of that, 4 soccer matches in my life, he put me in charge of the soccer team. Now, he folded the team right after that year. Not my fault. It just was too early uh, in the attempted growth of the match. Um, but that sort of gave me an introduction to seeing live soccer and seeing how the beautiful game is played. I then also dipped another toe in the water in the late 70s when I was chairman of a group that put together the LA Aztecs in the North American Soccer League. Uh, uh, we, the big splash we made is we brought Johan Cruyff over when he was the top player in the world. Uh, the beautiful game sort of grew up as time went on with me, as I got more and more exposed to it. But I didn't come to it because of a love for the game. I came to it because I know big events, having especially been involved with the Olympics. And I just thought it was an exciting, big event. And if I could play a significant part of it, that would be great.
Am I misremembering this? Did you go to that famous New York Cosmos game in Giant Stadium when you saw that? When you brought the big stars to United States, there was actually somewhat an audience built in for the sport here. I think it was the 70s in the 78 or 77.
Yes, that's what caused us to buy the LA Aztecs. The Cosmos brought in Pele, Beckham, Carlos, Alberto, Ginalia, and they were selling out the stadium, now MetLife Stadium. And so a group of us thought, okay, the time is right. And we put together a limited partnership, fought the Aztecs. Other than our attempt to bring Cruyff in, we just didn't have the financial resources that the Cosmos had, because they were then owned by Warner Communication, huge public company, for whom whatever the costs were, whatever the losses were, was a drop in the bucket. Ours was, we were a bunch of working stiffs, lawyers, doctors, friends of the family, accountants, and every time we had to make a capital call, it hurt. So we decided enough's enough and sold the team. But there's no doubt about it. The Cosmos get the credit, even though we dropped out and the league finally shrank to next to nothing. It was that period of time that really kind of nationwide sparked the interest in soccer.
Obviously, the Cosmos were the ones that showcased that star power, right? Brings the fans and the excitement and all of that. And we're seeing that in MLS and, with David Beckham coming in and Messi now, obviously, too. But it's more than just that, right? It's creating that legacy and that sustainability. And I know MLS, NWSL, like, it wasn't the easiest for both those leagues, especially at the beginning. And, going back to 94, in the book, you say that the mission for the 94 World Cup was to stage the greatest World Cup in history and leave a legacy for the sport of soccer. So we have MLS, we have NWSL, both are stronger than ever. We have the U.S. Soccer Foundation. Would you say it's mission accomplished? And what are you most proud of from that 94 and that legacy?
The mission will never be accomplished because we still have a long ways to go. But in fact, obviously, we left an enormous footprint. As you mentioned, after 94, we started Major League Soccer. Had 94 not been the kind of success it was, we probably would not have been able to start Major League Soccer. The 99 Women's World Cup led to some attempts that didn't work out, but ultimately the NWSL. We were blessed with the $50 million plus surplus and put that into a nonprofit foundation, the U.S. Soccer Foundation, which ever since has focused on building fields and programs in underserved communities. And so to really kind of spread the involvement as well as the interest in the sport. In fact, it's less the interest, it's more the involvement, because so many of the people, the young people in the underserved communities, are soccer people, but the pay-to-play system in youth soccer kind of keeps them out. And so by doing what the U.S. Soccer Foundation is doing and others, we are giving an opportunity to these young people to play soccer. So mission accomplished. There's still more to go. People want to say, how do you compare to the success? When I became president of the U.S. Soccer Federation, the offices were in a trailer in the Olympic Committee headquarters in Colorado Springs. I think there might have been 8, 9 employees. Today, the Federation is about to move into this $50 million complex with a training site, thanks to the generosity of Arthur Blank. They have several hundred employees. Back in 1990, Federation was broke, and now it's got hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue that they can use to benefit the sport. The other measurement that I would point to is in 1990, there were no English language live telecasts of the World Cup. We had a Saturday this last spring where every Euro game, Euro championship game was on. The CONCACAF Gold Gate Cup was on. Every MLS game was on Apple. Every NWSL game was on CBS in just one day. We went from 0 to 60 in the sport, and now we're going from 60 to 100.
If that's not legacy, what else could be?
I'm awfully proud of what was accomplished.
What do you now hope is the legacy of 2026 World Cup then, Alan?
Well, I think it'll be a giant step forward and I'm only talking frankly about the United States, okay? I think that there's going to be that many more viewers, that many more spectators, that many more people enjoying the fan festivals, even if they can't get into the stadiums. And so a new enthusiasm will graduate to, I hope, and I think, higher TV ratings, which also means financially easier for MLS and NWSL to get and retain stars, which will then in turn advance the interest in TV rates. The bottom line financially, not only in soccer, but in every sport, is the media, the TV ratings and the TV dollars. And if there's one place that MLS has lagged, notwithstanding its success in most places, is in that area. And I think they're going to get a huge boost. I think we'll see. I would not be surprised, though, if various of the teams decided to expand their stadiums. One of the keys to success in MLS has been the insistence on soccer-specific stadiums. They were properly sized at give or take 20,000. And if they could move, I'm not talking about moving up to capacities like American football stadiums. I think those would be too large, but to 30, 35,000, and still keep that same excitement and percentage of occupancy. And then, just from a financial standpoint, when I was putting together Major League Soccer, sports were not considered a separate sector in the financial world. So basically, we were going around trying to find wealthy individuals to put up some money to back a soccer league. Today, it is clearly a sector, all the sports is, but soccer in particular. And so, private equity and wealth management and the big financial people are heavily into it. And my assumption is that the value of teams are going to go up because of that, and because, if I'm right, that the TV ratings will go up. Again, that would justify a higher price tag for the teams. So, in that sense, I think it'll be great.
Michael mentioned David Beckham, and you just mentioned valuations. And just looking at that, perspective, Miami, Inter Miami was a very new franchise, probably was, around valued, 150 million, 200. And then today it's valued over $1 billion. So like it's already the valuations of soccer teams are skyrocketed in the United States. I mean, I can only imagine what happens, like you said, after the World Cup with the, better TV ratings, which Michael and I always discuss this. The Apple deal perhaps wasn't really helping the league, but there's a lot of interest in actual fandom and attendance in MLS games that we're observing.
Yeah, the Apple deal was a good experiment. When the Apple deal expires, if it hasn't proved successful, and the predictions that I and others are making for the increase in interest in soccer is there, I am sure that that MLS will receive a attractive financial package from one of the other platforms.
We've talked a lot about soccer's growth in the United States and obviously your impacts and, unmatched influence and impact on the growth here, but you've also been a proponent in growing the game globally as well too. Reading this in your book that you were part of, working with Morocco and their host, bid for the 2010 World Cup, which anyone who's familiar with FIFA and the scandals and the bribery knows that didn't happen in 2010, but Morocco's looking forward to hosting the World Cup in 2030 here with Spain and Portugal. So having been instrumental in that bid all those years ago, not to completely overlook the 2026 World Cup, but seeing it come to Morocco in 4 years' time, what does that mean for you, given your, work with them all those years?
First of all, I'm happy for them. It's a great country, and I'm really pleased that finally they're going to have the opportunity to participate in hosting a World Cup. I think the fact that, there's been a lot of criticism about you watering down the competition by going to 48 teams. I mean, in that sense, thank God for Morocco in 2022. Seriously, because their performance made people say, well, maybe we shouldn't discount these, quote, second-rate countries, unquote, as much as before. So I truly think it's great just from it. Not only the tournament standpoint, but as I say, I grew a personal attachment to Morocco, so happy. We're talking about what the challenge was in '94, what certain of the challenges are in 26. But boy, is FIFA undertaking a challenge for 30 when you think about 3 continents, 6 countries. It's all good. It all makes sense. And I'm sure because the fans are everywhere, that it'll work out, but just the logistics are going to be really challenging.
And Alejandro Dominguez wants to make it even more countries. He wants to raise the number of the countries to 64, right, Michael?
Well, I've advocated and I put in the book.
I was going to call that out. Yeah.
I think that they should go to 64, single elimination, just like the Final Four in basketball in this country. And 2 reasons. One is, again, it spreads it to more countries, and more countries that think they have a chance to, and in fact do, participate in a World Cup means that they're going to be more committed to developing the sport in their country. People have said, well, single elimination, it's going to be a joke because the number 1 team against the 64th team, it's a farce. And I say 2 things. One is there's enough scares every year in the NCAA tournament. It's rare that a huge underdog beats the top-rated team, but they scare the hell out of them, which is exciting for the fans. But I think the quality of the games are going to be different because in group stage, there's a lot of tactical stuff. You're looking at the other teams, how many points, this and that. Whereas in single nation, you got to go all out. It's win or go home. And so I think from a soccer standpoint, it'll be a better quality of soccer. So, I think that's one of the things I think is inevitable, and I honestly do think it'll be to the advantage of the sport.
In this book, we read over and over again a lot of your anecdotes, and I think some people really get excited around the sport during World Cup. Michael calls them World Cup curious, but there is always this, kind of problem that these curious people after the World Cup forget about it. How do we actually keep the momentum going from the fan perspective and make sure that they stick with the sport and keep enjoying in the fandom of it in the United States?
I think we have to be realistic. Look at when I began running the World Cup for '94, there was not the kind of universal excitement or support for the World Cup in the United States as you would hope. And my operation was Americans love big events. And so they will respond to big events. So we did everything, a lot of things that had never been done for a World Cup before to stimulate public interest. There's going to be a natural fall off after a big event. But there are also going to be naturally, whether it's 5, 10, 20, 50% of the people who stick with it, that's a huge advancement. And so I think realistically, you can't expect that everybody that goes to the matches or watches it on TV is going to suddenly be a diehard soccer fan. A lot of them are going to go because of the curiosity factor. Big deal in their communities. They're hyped like crazy. What is this all about? Okay. So some percentage of those people will find the experience lasting. Probably most, if they walked in with no soccer background, won't. But there's a lot of people. We don't need 100%. So I think there'll be definitely some continuing fan interest and fan support increasing after the World Cup.
Yeah, listen, it brought you in all those years ago, right? You didn't have the background or the interest in soccer, and then there you are, and you were in it, and it was your life and your career. So if we can get the next Alan Rothenberg, right, from 2026, I think we'll be in a good spot.
Well, by the way, that would be a great example. The fact is, when I was appointed commissioner for '84, in order to sort of get a better feel for the game, I went to the '82 World Cup in Spain. And that's the first time I really saw the amazing excitement of the World Cup. And so I'm sure that helped make me want to be the CEO for '94. So yes, I think if you get exposure at the top level, it has to sink in.
Well, Ellen, thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't read yet, everyone should read The Big Bounce. I think this is a great book.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Thank you. Always great to talk to you.
Finance of Football comes to you from the Frequency Machine Podcast Network. Hit us up on Instagram and YouTube at Finance of Football Pod for more football business and our enlightened opinions. Or search Finance of Football on LinkedIn and Facebook. This episode was produced by co-host Michael Array and Asla Pellet. It was edited by Ryan Hammond. Mixing and mastering by Julian Kwasniewski. Our theme music is by Hatamitsunami. Our show is executive produced by Ryan, alongside Stacy Book and Avi Glajansky for Frequency Machine. Find more about Finance of Football at frequencymachine.com. Follow us on YouTube at Finance of Football and listen anywhere you get podcasts. Please like and subscribe. Help us reach more people. We love you for it.